Hello, welcome to tonight's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. It's just Paul, but I am being accompanied by my lovely wife Tina tonight. Brandon's taking a break tonight. We're going to do a special one-off episode, and it's all going to be about the early days of Tina going to conventions with me. This is going to give you a little backstory here. Tina and I met in 1993.
Many moons ago.
A long time ago. At my first comic book store I was part owner of.
I didn't even want to go in.
She didn't want to go in. You didn't think comic books were for adults.
I didn't want to go in. I didn't know why JR wanted to drag me in there. He told me I couldn't stay out in the car because I'd get mad at him for taking too long.
And that's still usually the case.
Yeah.
Because, I can't go like, I'm just running in for a minute. I'm just going in for a minute.
Because
No.
it's never just a minute.
Mm.
Every female that's ever been left out in the car for somebody to run in that says they're just going to be a minute, it's never, ever, ever just a minute.
Well, the same case is anytime a guy's ever waited in a car for a woman who just wanted to run in somewhere for a minute.
I never said that.
It's never going to just be a minute. If you're an hour, you're lucky. You're lucky.
But I'm just saying. So I wasn't allowed to stay in the car.
Yeah.
I went in.
And then the rest is history.
Pretty much.
You decided that goofy guy with the...
That wouldn't talk to me.
Well, I thought JR was your boyfriend at the time. And then you're like, ew! JR, listen to this and go, what? She went, ooh? Yeah. Literally, you went, ooh.
Yeah. I think we both did. Okay. No. So we both just looked at each other like, what? No.
And
we grew up together.
Yeah. But we were talking about this. I was trying to explain to some people a while back at the shop, who were like, oh, I met such and such at comic book convention. I met such and such at this convention or that convention. And I'm like, you didn't meet them. You got your photo op, you got your signed item, and then you got scurried along.
Got scooted on
and scooted on down the line. Back in the 90s, early 2000s, even relatively up to about 10 years ago, you could still meet these people and meet them, hang out with them. I mean,
I could have a conversation. It wasn't about just keeping that separation.
No, they hung out in the hotel or convention center, and we used to call what they called BarCon, which is everybody with the convention would hang out at the bar at the convention. Mm-hmm. So you'd sit there and have drinks and hang out with the artists, the actors, just everybody was there. We would hang out, and we've literally hung out with Ted Raimi. We've hung out with people from Angel and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Mark Lutz and Andy Hallett, the Gruslug, and the host. Yes. We've hung out with these people. I have video footage of us doing karaoke.
Terrible karaoke.
Yes, horrible karaoke with Andy Hallett. The fact that we helped him to his hotel room because he was too hammered, and his helper, his manager, was like, "Oh my God, thank you guys for helping us." And he's like, "I love you guys. You come back and see me every year."
Yeah, he was super nice, though.
But you can't get that nowadays. No.
Do you think it has something to do, too, with fans and the way that fans act? I feel like people get kind of stupid sometimes.
Oh, and people will get stupid, but I think the thing is that conventions see every opportunity to make that dollar. Mm-hmm. And, it used to be, shit, this is going to go way back to when I first started going to conventions in the early 90s, before I met you even. Mm-hmm. If you wanted an autograph, you just stood in line. Mm-hmm. You might stand in line for 3 fucking hours.
Was also before it got popular. Nobody knew about it back then. It was like that hidden little
Yeah, it was.
know.
I'm gonna put this in there. When I was a nerd, I've been a comic book geek and a nerd and playing D&D and watching anime my entire life. I don't remember not. I mean, D&D's one thing is I remember not playing D&D because I didn't find D&D till the 6th grade. But I've been watching, cartoons. I've been reading comic books. I've been reading all and enjoying the D&D cartoons before I started playing it as long as I can remember.
I liked a lot of stuff, but it was never a nerd thing. Like, for me anyway. It was just always stuff I liked. I didn't know that it was like a nerd thing until I got with you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
I always liked Batman. I watched Batman the animated series when it came out. Loved it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know there was a whole thing. I didn't know there were comic books. To be honest, like, I had no idea. I freaking went and seen all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies because I freaking loved them. I didn't know there was like this whole fandom.
Yeah, I remember
all that stuff.
I remember when you first discovered that comic books weren't for little kids.
Yeah.
You picked up a Faust comic book and you're like, whoa, yeah, this is not for kids. I'm like, no, the sex and the violence is definitely not for children.
I had no idea.
But, yeah.
I was a 16-year-old that was into rock bands and...
Yeah. And it's funny because I had to explain this to Ken the other day because we were joking around about when I met you and stuff like that. And I was like, I didn't think, a girl that met me at my comic shop would want to have anything to do with me because then you would see me in my natural environment. Every girl I dated before then, I'd either worked with or went to school with. I never dated anybody that I had met, through essentially where I
You
was.
just fooled me. I thought you were a nice guy.
Yes. I was like, yes, I will be the nice guy.
Yeah.
And it worked.
It worked out.
It worked out in the long run.
Took a lot of time and blood and tears and sweat and...
No, yeah.
But it worked.
I was like, I tell everybody, everybody's like, oh, how do you do it? I was like, Tina has the patience of a saint. Because I do not make anything easy. There is not one thing in my life I make easy.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I'm a colossal pain in the ass when it comes to those
are.
things. But when you first came in, you didn't know anything about the comic book life.
No.
Nothing about going to conventions. I remember taking you to your first big convention. You'd went to the Dayton show with me, and you're just like, looking around like, oh wow, okay. And then I'm like, all right, Motor City's coming up. And you're like, what's Motor City? And then I'm like, it's a big convention up in Novi, Michigan. You're like, I got family lives 5 miles away. And I'm like, sweet. We can stay there.
And we did.
And we did. And then I remember you walking in. We went to Novi. And this is, it was Motor City Con. This was the old convention center. And we walked in. We walked past the thing. We go in. And it's just this massive room. And there's probably, I don't know, several thousand people in this room. Vendors and, fans and everything. And there's the artist and whatnot. And 8 women.
I was one of the 8.
And you just looked at me like, what did you get me into? And this is before,
that didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. It was just oh.
It's culture shock.
Yeah.
It's definitely culture shock.
This was different.
It's like a life that you whoa. It's like the first time you go to the zoo and you see the apes in their natural environment.
The geeks in their natural environment.
And the thing is that...
it wasn't like that.
You get... Realistically, and it was funny because I remember... going to conventions and you had a handful of girlfriends who didn't want to be there, girlfriends and wives who did not want to be there, You had what back was then called the booth babes. You had the girls that would dress up in the costumes and help promote books like Vampirella and Glory and the Wizard Girl, stuff like that. You had those, and then you had one or two girls that were there because they liked going to the convention, going and buying the books. We used to always joke around because we had the twins that used to come to the Dayton shows on Dryden Road and at the Holiday Inn down at the Dayton Mall, and they were the Gambit girls or the X-Men girls, because they were the two twin girls who only came in and would buy X-Men books. That was it. And there were literally like 2 of maybe 10 girls that would show up the entire day at a Dayton show, and it's hilarious because that's all you got. And then, you know, when stuff started getting at you know, it was like...
Well, I started out as just a tag along. I mean, I kind of tagged along with you. And then kind of the bigger they got, the more things that I found that were interesting, that I liked when they started doing more of some of the pop culture stuff as opposed to just the comic stuff.
Yeah, because like the little shows locally was just your comic book stuff. But when you hit Motor City, and then when you went to like Mid Ohio with me and stuff like that, and then Chicago, you started seeing, oh, they got all this shit here. You know, this guy's got, you know, witchcraft stuff, and you know, had, you know, necklaces, and okay, this guy's got really cool artwork, or this guy's got this and this. And
I was always interested in the artwork.
I
mean,
yeah,
that's usually what would catch my eye.
Oh yeah.
You know,
and it's funny because, like I said, we started out, you know, and it was like maybe 5% of a convention would be actual women there to see, and then it started being more and more and more and more and more and more. And it's funny because, you know, at this point it's probably 50-50.
Oh yeah.
And you know, I'm you know, I kind of stopped going to some of the larger shows because they price you to death nowadays, because, you know, it's $40 to get in the door, minimum of like $60 an autograph if you want anything.
Well,
now even,
you know, aimed at people that are college kids.
It's aimed at people with disposable income
that don't have, you know, have to, pay bills and things like that. It's not, you know, we're a family. We have bills to pay. We have kids. We have to budget our money, so it's not feasible to go spend $600.
Oh yeah, well that's like, okay, you know, Stan Lee passed away, you know, what, 2 years now back, and you know, I would never pay to go see Stan Lee. There's no way, because you would see him there, and I looked at people and I'm like, that's not Stan Lee, and they're like, what? I was like, I met him several times back in the mid 90s, and he was this jovial, the character that you saw,
what you see in the movies,
was him.
Mm-hmm.
But when you would see him later on in life, he did not want to be there. And then you found out, because I kept looking at people, he doesn't want to be here. Mm-hmm. That guy does not want to be here. Look at him. And then you find out later, he didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. He was forced there by his management, who kind of was like milking him for every penny they could get out of him until he died. Yeah. And it was sad.
Really sad.
Me and Brandon had this talk, and this one is, I went to, this was just not long before I met you. Me and Mark and I went down to Atlanta in 93. And that was the summer of 93. We went down there for the Big Diamond Summit. This is when we got to meet, you know, some of the Image guys. Jim Lee was supposed to be there, but he ended up bringing a video via internet. That's when I met, like, Hart Fisher and got to hang out with him. I got drunk with him. And I'm literally, like, 18, and I'm getting hammered at a hotel bar in downtown Atlanta. And I have to walk, like, 3 blocks to our hotel at, like, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just wasted.
Yeah, that was back when you could get away with that.
You
can't get away with that so much now.
No. But one of the best times about that whole trip was, you know, me and Mark went down, and we got a lot of cool free shit and whatnot. But I'm a huge fan of Harlan Ellison. A Boy and His Dog. He wrote the episodes of Star Trek. He did some work on Babylon 5. He's Harlan Ellison. I don't know how to...
Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, he's on Scooby-Doo. He was on Scooby-Doo. Mystery Incorporated.
Yeah, I know who he was as well, but...
I remember sitting at the Summit dinner, and Harlan Ellison came over and asked if he could sit at our table. And he sat at our table, and he hung out, and he told us stories about all this and this, and he was telling us about, all of his friends from back in the day and everything, and I made a mistake, and I always left on people, I made a mistake of calling it sci-fi instead of speculative fiction, and he's like, you do it again, I had to smack you, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, you had to explain that to me because of the Phineas and Ferb thing.
Oh, yeah. And, you would never be able to do that nowadays. Even at something like a Summit, they're going to keep you away from the talent. Mm-hmm. You're not to be...
Yeah, they like separation.
Because
they want you to pay. They want you to want to spend that money.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you could just go hang out...
Yeah.
The value of it goes down.
And it's getting to the point now where conventions are getting so expensive because you got... Everybody wants paid. You got comic book artists, and don't get me wrong, I understand artists want to make money. Don't get me wrong. And they don't want to sign books because they want to do sketches, because you make money doing sketches. You don't make money signing books. But you're getting paid. A lot of them are getting paid to be there. Mm-hmm. So they're getting their hotel room, their food, they're getting brought there to sign autograph. And they want $5 to $10 an autograph, some of them, on books that will never be worth $5.
Well,
and
I feel like when I first started going with you, the conventions and that aspect of the convention was more about people in the business being appreciative of their fans.
Yeah.
And now it's, what are you going to give me?
Mm-hmm.
You want this piece of, this fandom. What do I get out of it? And it's like, but you wouldn't be where you're at without,
if I didn't buy your books, you wouldn't be able to pay your bills.
Yeah, like the conventions, I feel like started out more as an appreciation of that, where people, would gather and get together and just celebrate it. Well, and it's kind of lost that.
See, you used to go, and you'd be able to go to comic book shows and conventions and whatnot, and if you were lucky, you'd get a free sketch. I got free sketches from back in the day. Still got them. Because I would hurry up and get in their line. You run the risk. You would look and go, okay, well, this person's got this. And as soon as you get there, you go, okay, I want to see if I can get artwork from this guy. So you'd haul ass over there and try to get a sketch. And how
much more did you appreciate it then?
I loved it all.
I mean...
That's like...
When you just are throwing $20 at somebody...
Yeah.
How much do you appreciate it then?
You're like, okay, I got a sketch now, and I throw it in a box. And don't get me wrong, I get getting sketches. I get paying for the sketches. I would love to get free ones and stuff, but I do getting paid for, getting sketches. Mm-hmm. But it's the whole fact is that, people take advantage of it. Mark.
They see him coming.
They Mark. Well, they was like, oh my God, it's this dude. I'm a huge fan of George Perez. George Perez used to sign 10 items for free, and then you would have to get back in line, but you would get all the way back through his line again, and you get 10 more autographs signed. And then if you wanted to, you get back in line again, and you keep doing that. And then, of course, you got the ones who go, okay, well, I'll give you 5 autographs for free. Every autograph after that's $1. Or there's some that's like, it's $10 for 10 autographs. That I get. Like the Hero Initiative and stuff like that, which the Hero Initiative right now is not on the best of term because there's bullshit going in internally in there. But at least, you know, when they ask for donations, like, oh, we'll sign some books, throw some, God, now no one carries change on them. You know, everybody wants to do everything with card. So, you know, I used to always go, okay, want to throw some autographs. I'd hand them a small stack of books and I'd throw a $5 in the bin. You know, it's whatever. Or if I had, you know, a couple ones in my pocket, I'd toss a couple ones in my pocket.
I never had a problem paying for the stuff that I wanted signed. Like, and I mean, a lot of the people that I got autographs from were the TV personalities or whatever. There's certain artists that I like that I just caught my eye from the get-go. I mean, obviously my tattoo shows that, but you know, so I don't mind that. But when you're going to a convention and the autographs are $20, $30, $40 a pop,
yeah, now
then you gotta go, okay, what do I really want? Because I can only afford,
well, now
this or that, pick and choose. I can't spend $1,000 on autographs.
Well, that's like, okay, when we had, you know, back in the day, you got an autograph, and if you had your camera on you, you did a quick selfie at the table. That was free. That was part of your autograph. Now, selfie's $60. Autograph is $60. A professional photo op is, you know, another $60. Or you can do the photo op, the selfie / photo for double pack for $100. And I'm like, and then what's really hilarious,
they just want to make, I feel like they kind of want to cut down on how much work they have to do and make just as much money doing it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that kind of, you know, puts that in there for them, which I can understand that. Don't get me wrong. But again,
if you're paid,
I feel like the conventions are supposed to be for the fans.
If you're paid to be there all day.
Yeah, they should be doing things for the fans.
Well, okay. I took Brent to his first Comic-Con, which was Cincinnati. I don't know. At this point, I can't remember. It's been three years ago, maybe. Sounds about right. He was wanting to meet John Barrowman, Captain Jack Harkness. We got there right after the doors opened. We went right back to the very back of the thing. We get in line, and they're like, "Oh, the line's shut off here. That's the only thing he's signing for today." At like 10:30 in the morning. He's doing photo ops, and he said that he was going to come back when the photo ops were all done. He was going to sign all the people in line, photo ops, and then when that was done, he was going to come back and do more autographs. So literally, me and Brent stood there, and I'm like, dude, I was like, I'm going to walk around and get some autographs and try to get some sketches and talk to some people that I hadn't seen for a while. And Brent stood back there, and pretty soon he comes walking back. He was like, "Yeah, he ain't coming back." I think if you're a guest and you're at a convention and you're there Saturday and Sunday.
And how disappointing is that? That's the only thing he really wanted to do, and he didn't get the opportunity.
He did get to meet God, I can't remember his name now. The guy who played Jay Garrick, Flash before John Wesley Shipp did it when he was Reverse Flash. Why can't I think of the dude's name? He did get an autograph from him. And not gonna lie, the kid that played Bruce Wayne in Gotham, this kid was just walking around meeting people.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm standing there and they're like, "Would you like to talk to him?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So I'm like, "Hey, cool." I'm like, "My wife loved you on the show with Kiefer Sutherland." And he's like, "Oh, tell your wife thanks. I appreciate that." I was like, "You do a good job being an autistic kid."
He's a good actor.
Yeah, and he was like, he goes, "It's nice to talk to adults because I just usually get teenage girls, and I don't know what to say to them." He was a cool kid, and it was like, it's like when you go there to meet artists, or you go there to meet, you know, the media guest or you whatever, and they're never at their table, or they're only signing for an hour. Then you need to put that shit on the website.
I don't feel like it used to be that way.
No, they used to be there at their tables all day.
Yeah. I mean, when we went, like, when we got in line to meet people, we met them,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Even when you got pissed off and I met James Marsters because you were, like, his manager was terrible.
Oh, that's a fucking horrible person. What's
and
funny
being
is
ridiculous.
what's funny is I got to talk to him and hang out with him later, so
Yeah.
it was whoop-de-fucking-do.
But, I mean, he was there. He was, you know, he was one that was, like, all over the place and talking to people and, you know, super nice guy, but he had the manager from hell.
Well, what's funny, this was what, Atlanta, was it 2003, 2002, 2003? Somewhere, it's been a long fucking time ago, it feels like. Dragon Con, it was fun. We were sitting there talking to these people, and I was talking with, oh, goddamn, I can't remember their real names. It was Jonathan and Kennedy from Buffy the last season. Kennedy was Willow's girlfriend in the last season,
Mm-hmm.
and Jonathan was part of the Trinity.
Yeah.
And also talking to Andy, because Andy was right there. The last three were right there, so I was talking to Andy, talking to those two, and we're literally getting ready to take a picture because Andy was like, "Yeah, shit, yeah, I'll take a picture with you guys." And we're getting ready to take the picture, and they all like put their heads down and duck back down and sit behind the table because their management comes over and tells them they can't take pictures with people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, okay, that sucks.
Yeah.
You're adults. You know you can do whatever you want to do.
Contracts.
And it is contracts. They're not allowed doing that because then they're not making that money on a photo op.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they like rush them through rooms so you can't like snap a picture of them.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, I went to C2E2 and Chris Hemsworth was there.
I'm still mad about that.
And yeah, like you would have ever got $225 for...
I would have been okay with just being in the same room with Chris Hemsworth. Thank you very much.
Did not realize how tall he was till they escorted him through and all you see was his head.
Even just seeing his head go by in a crowd being rushed through, I'd have been fine. Being in the same room with Chris Hemsworth.
That was the year I got to see...
Crushed my dreams.
Was...
Just so you know.
Got to see Nicolas Cage buying comics. Kinda. He was being...
Well, we seen his tomb.
Yeah, we got to see Nick Cage's tomb in New Orleans, which is hilarious because it's
Cemetery
a
in
pyramid in a cemetery in
Yeah.
New Orleans.
Not too far from Marie Laveau.
Yeah, what, about 20 feet?
Yeah.
So that's really close.
That was one of the highlights of that trip.
Yeah, that was a fun trip going to New Orleans. And never did... Hey, you got to admit, I did not find one comic book store and go in any comic book store in our entire trip to New Orleans.
Only because I found you a wrestling event.
Yeah, I went to see wrestling there, so I'm not gonna lie. That was some good wrestling. Wildcat wrestling.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
But I tried to plan a trip that we would both enjoy, so
I
found
got
something for you to do as well.
Oh my god, it was fun, and you got to admit it was fun too.
It was.
You've never been front row at wrestling.
Had a wrestler land in our lap.
You had Daga, because I ended up talking to him in Dayton not too long ago, and I was like, "You got thrown in my lap," and he's like, "No, I really," and I was like, "Here's a picture of you," and he's like, "Oh, son of a bitch, I did get thrown in your lap." So, and that's Tessa Blanchard's man. That's what's hilarious. But
I don't know who she is.
Tessa Blanchard is Tully Blanchard's daughter, and she just got fired because I guess she's kind of a see you next Tuesday. But that's a rumor. Not going to spread that rumor. She could be a really nice person. She was cool with me. I'm not going to lie. Met her.
Hey, I am back to being able to say that to people at work again.
What?
Because I'm off on Mondays. So I can leave work
You
on
go to-
Friday and say, see you next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Just like I used to do back in the day. I get so much pleasure in saying that to people.
I love it when I say it at the shop and nobody gets it, and then all of a sudden one person goes, "Ah!"
Yeah.
And they're like,
It took forever for Gordon to get it.
Big see you next Tuesday.
Because I'd be like, I love leaving on a Saturday night, and he would be like, why? I said, because I get to tell everybody, see you next Tuesday, and he stared at me for a second, and he's like, hey, I know what that means. I'm like, yeah, so do I.
Oh my God. I do got to do something right now. When we go to New Orleans, which was hilarious, because we're sitting there planning our trip, and you're like, hey, do you want to go to the, what was it, Agave Festival? That's the only thing that the message got me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't drink, but if you want to go, I don't care. And you're like, no, there's wrestling. I'm like, what? It just says Agave Festival. And then you like had to send me another link, and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I want to go to wrestling. I was like, I don't know who. Oh,
I think I asked you if you liked that type of, like, do you like this type of wrestling? Do you want to go to this?
Oh, Lucha Libre, that was freaking awesome. And the thing is, though, is I didn't realize who some of these people were. Like, it's Luke Hawx's organization out of in Wildcat Wrestling, and Luke Hawx was on Wrestling Society X on MTV, and I'm like, I know who some of these people are.
That's funny.
Like Damien 666, I'd seen him years ago, and then his son, and then Daga. I knew who Daga was, and I'm like, shit. Okay, this is cool.
I didn't know who anybody was, but that one lady in the front row that was across from us that was getting into it, and who ran over and like high-fived and sat on your lap for a second.
Yeah,
and all that.
She was
fantastic.
She got the whistle and that with them little clacker things that you spin on. I'm like, what the hell? Sweet.
She was awesome.
I love looking at them guys too, and they're like, I was like, man, great show, man. This is really good wrestling. They're like, where are you from? I'm like, Ohio, and they're like, oh, you came from Ohio to see us? I'm like, kinda, but no. And they're like, come here. This guy came from Ohio. I happen to be from Ohio. And my wife pointed out there was wrestling down here not far from our hotel. So we went to wrestling. Yes, it was awesome wrestling, but I did not come all the way from Ohio just to see your wrestling.
It was a bonus.
Yeah. I would drive a couple hours to go see your wrestling. I wouldn't drive 12 hours just to see your wrestling.
It was a little longer than 12-hour drive.
About 15?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't know. 2 days to get there. Drove it straight back.
Yeah, I could have been there. But we were also driving like 90 mile an hour all the way there, which was freaking awesome.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, driving from Ohio to New Orleans is a fantastic drive. And people know how to, like, move through construction. We did not slow down. It was amazing.
Yeah. And I'm still disappointed because I am a cryptid guy. I love my Bigfoots and my chupacabras and all that bullshit. And I drove through Honey Island. And next time we go, we're stopping because I'm finding where the Honey Island swamp monster is. I'm going to get a picture.
There we go.
Get a picture.
Next time we go.
Next time we go. I still didn't see no alligators. But I like the guy at the park. Don't get too close to the water. We're still in New Orleans. There might be alligators.
Maybe something.
Keep your kids back. A guy just walking along, make sure the kids stay back from the water. Stay back from the water.
Don't want them popping out.
No. But what's great about going down there, though, is they're like pointing out all these places where they filmed movies. They're like, okay, this is where they filmed parts of American Horror Story. And this is where they filmed the scenes with Kathy Bates and Angela Bassett. Couldn't think of her name for a second. Angela Bassett. Okay, this is where they filmed parts of Interview with a Vampire. Okay, and then this is the reason that they can't film in any of the cemeteries in New Orleans is because they filmed Easy Rider in this spot right here. And because of the movie Easy Rider, you can't film in the cemeteries no more.
Well, also because people would go in and like paint over stuff.
Oh yeah.
Or they would put the big X's.
Put the 3 X's on the tombs. But what's great was we were just watching before we started the podcast. We were watching the music video to "Slip of the Lip" by Rat, and if you watch it, it's filmed part of it on Bourbon Street, and I'm like, see, we were right there. And you're like, no, we're right there. That's hilarious.
It's kind of weird to like, it stands out so much now.
Well, what's funny is like we got back and we were going down there when Darby was coming back, because if we would have went like a week or so before, we would have went down for Wizards World New Orleans. So.
The week before was Mardi Gras.
Yeah. The week before that, I think, was Wizard World. That's another thing that's killed the comic book convention industry. Get back to that a little bit. Wizard, the Walmart of comic book conventions.
That's a good comparison.
It's my whole thing is that.
Again, it's that making money. It's more important than anything else.
I used to go to Pittsburgh every year since like 2004. We went for over. And Wizard World bought it, and as soon as they bought it, they went from having like this like whole list of guests and $15 tickets. And mind you, I always went there for free because I was a comic book store, so they would always just give you free passes. Mm-hmm. And yes, people give me shit because I know the guy who used to own Pittsburgh Comic-Con killed his wife. I get that, but that was not the same guy who owned it when I went. The same guy that owned Dragon Con was a pedophile. That's not the same guy who runs Dragon Con now. You think they would get there and change their name from Dragon Con because there's still that. But Pittsburgh was always really good to me. And the year that Wizard World bought it, they went from having a big list of guests when the other guy had it to when Wizard bought it, the tickets went from $15 to $40 a day, and they went down to 4 guests. And I'm like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
Way to shoot that shit in the foot. And the thing is, I used to love going over. We would make the trip over there. I would take the boys with me. Me and Mark.
Yeah, you guys always had a blast.
We would have a blast. We would go over. We'd leave on Friday. We'd get there. We'd stay roughly in the same town. We'd get up. We'd get breakfast. We'd go in there. We'd hang out all day because we knew a ton of the people that went there. We'd always hang out with like Sean Forney and Josh Metters and Warner, and we would hang out with a lot of them guys. And we would hang out all day. We'd get books signed. We would buy comics and shit like that. And we'd load everything back up at the end of the day. And we'd pack everything back in the car. And we would drive all the way back to Ohio. And it never seemed to fail because it always seemed like it took us forever to get there. And we'd be back in no time flat.
That's how it is when you travel, though.
Oh, man. One day, I don't know how the fuck we did it. We gained an hour. Because it takes us like 5 hours to get there, and somehow it took us 4 hours to get back.
That's weird.
And I don't know how. Because we even stopped and got food. One time was great, was we were driving Mark's vehicle back, and the brakes were locked up almost the entire way.
Wow.
Yeah. Like 3 hours of the drive was with like one locked up brake.
That's not good.
Yeah, it wasn't, but we got back. Fuck it. Oh, shit.
I went there a couple of times. I liked it.
Yeah, we went there with a couple times. You also went to Baltimore.
Yep.
Baltimore was fun. People give Baltimore a bunch of shit, and everybody's like, Baltimore's such a rough town. I'm like, fuck, we were wandering all over Baltimore.
I liked Baltimore.
Yeah, went to
I didn't feel unsafe.
Nope. But
well, everybody told me when we went to New Orleans that like it's rough and it's dirty and it's this and it's that, and I'm like, we had a blast.
It stinks.
Yeah.
It smells like hot dumpster vomit.
When people are partying
when
on
they're
Bourbon Street.
Yeah,
yes.
But you get outside of Bourbon, the French Quarter in Bourbon Street. You get over by the French Market and shit like that. No, it doesn't stink.
No.
It smells like salt water because you're right off the ocean there.
Yeah, but
not the ocean, the bay or whatever it is. Was it? That's kind of cool. Just sitting there watching.
Yeah.
Sitting there eating, watching the big old boats. Yeah, you eating your ginormous fucking bar stool size sandwich.
It was delicious.
And the fact that you only got half of one.
It took me 2 days to eat it.
Holy shit. I'm sitting there looking.
All the gumbo. So good.
I don't know. Man, I'm not a gumbo, but man, when we went to Spirits on Bourbon, I had that like spicy Cajun chicken sandwich, and that shit was delicious. So was the bacon wrapped cheese balls, deep fried cheese balls. I'm like, I can feel my arteries clogging while I'm eating it. So that's another thing.
That's good.
That's one thing I miss about going to conventions all the time and being all over the United States is all the fucking fucking food we'd find.
Yeah.
Remember that little bar we found when we went to Pittsburgh?
Yes. I had like the best stuffed mushrooms I've ever had in my life, and I will never have them again.
And I don't even know if the bar exists anymore.
That's
We've
what I'm
never been
saying.
able to find this bar again.
Oh, so good.
Literally we went over, we crashed at the hotel, and we like went to the front desk and we're like, hey, where's food around here? And he goes like, there's a bar down the street you can try. And we're like, okay. We went to the bar and we're like, oh, holy crap, this has got great food. Like,
That's the best thing to do is to, ask about little places. You find the little
that
weird
freaking
one-off places.
that little Chinese place in Baltimore where we got the freaking I was eating the freaking orange chicken.
Mm-hmm. It's when you decided you loved orange chicken.
Oh man, the thing is though is they give you this ginormous thing of orange chicken for like $5. And I'm just there walking around Baltimore eating it. And I have this homeless guy and he's like, you gonna finish that? I'm like, no, you can have it. And he does it there, fuck yeah. Ah, shit.
I think that's the biggest culture shock in big cities is seeing all the homeless people. That was probably the hardest thing about walking around New Orleans is seeing the homeless people that were just literally sleeping in the sidewalk.
They have to step over people.
Yeah. And like that it just really sucked.
Well, when we went to Dragon Con, we were pretty much in the same hotel where most of the thing is, but we had to travel around a couple of hotels. And, during the day, you don't really see anything. But at night, that's when you see, because you're like walking around. But now at New Orleans, all day long, 20 years, there's
it doesn't matter.
Homeless people.
Yeah. Well,
And
I feel like when we were in Atlanta, too, like, it was a different feel and a different mentality, and people were friendlier and happier and
well, it's
general,
It was Dragon Con, and Dragon Con basically is a huge chunk of
the people that were there, not the people for the convention, like going outside of that.
Oh yeah.
It was a little different than a lot of other places.
And yeah, you get the people trying to get money off of you and stuff like that.
Hey, we got a really good tour, and we gave the guy a few bucks, and he was pretty happy, and he showed us all over.
Oh yeah.
Atlanta.
Yep.
And that was fine.
Oh yeah, shit yeah.
He was a super friendly, nice guy.
Yep. Nate was like, "Why are you paying the homeless guy to walk around?"
Like, we don't know what we're doing or where we're at.
No.
Why not?
I hadn't been, and at that point, I hadn't been. That was shit. That was like almost a decade from.
Yeah.
I went.
But he did show us he showed us where the underground was. He showed us where all the interesting buildings were. He showed us where to go.
Showed us where the Coca-Cola museum and shit like that was. What's funny is that I went to Atlanta, I think in '92, because when I graduated high school, and I'd been to a couple conventions before I graduated high school, but as soon as I graduated high school, I was immediately gone. Mm-hmm. So I went to Chicago that year. Went to Atlanta that year.
For you, it was conventions. For me, it was concerts.
But still, it was concerts. I mean, concerts for me was fun because that's another thing is meet and greets for concerts. That kills me. Used to be if you went to a concert and you
would hang out.
You would hang out until you saw them leave, and then you would go over and you get your ticket signed or your CD or your bandana or your hat or your shirt. Yeah.
I mean, I hung out at Hera for 2 hours after the show to get autographs a few times.
I've met Danzig. I've met Rob Zombie. I met...
I met Rob Zombie because my battery went dead because I left my lights on in my van. And we were hanging out. Luckily, JR was at that one, so he brought us home. But we were hanging out in front of Hera, and all of a sudden the bus pulls around the front. And before I could even say anything, JR was like, "Bus!" and just takes off running, and that's how we met Rob Zombie.
Let's see. Danzig, Rob Zombie, guys from Prong, guys from Typo Negative, Snake River Conspiracy.
We were just standing next to the guys from Prong at the one show.
Yeah, no, I was drinking with them.
Yeah.
I was drinking with them because we were sitting there talking about how old we were.
Yeah. I remember that.
He's like, Prong is so underrated and still one of my favorite thrash. I don't even consider him thrash, but fuck.
I'll never forget you meeting Joey Belladonna.
Oh, Joey Belladonna! God damn it! Sitting there talking about my son Joe, and he's like talking about him on stage. I'm like, that's Joey Belladonna's talking about my kid. Yeah. That's one of them. So they like to meet Anthrax. Let's see. I'm trying to think of some of the other people we met from just kind of hanging out. Power Man 5000. Mm-hmm. Dudes from Static X. Dudes from Hell Yeah. A lot of the people we met.
I met Vinnie Paul before I knew who Vinnie Paul was.
Well, we met Maria Brink, and then the following show, that's when they started doing the meet and greets.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't want to pay. I hate to say this because I feel like an asshole by going, well, I don't want to pay for the meet and greet. Because I think that sucks all the fun out of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I may or may not meet them. Mm-hmm. But if I do get to meet them and I don't pay for it, it makes it cooler. But I get the fact that a lot of bands want to...
Okay, I like when you go and you buy their merch and you meet them that way.
Yeah.
Because you're buying something. You're buying their shirt, you're buying their CD, you're buying a poster.
Yep.
You're buying something, you're supporting them. They are making money that way. Mm-hmm. And then they're just hanging out. How many times have we met bands that way? Mm-hmm. They're just hanging out. Freaking the guys from Otherwise. Mm-hmm. Well, we were just hanging out outside of the show, and because of the shirt you were wearing,
I had a Mumra. I love the dude sitting there staring at me, and he goes, "Is that a fucking Mumra shirt?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is. That is cool. Where did you get that?" I own a comic book shop. Really? I'm like, yeah. Well, that's like the dudes from Critical Bill. Mm-hmm. They got us into how many shows for free because I hooked them up with some Star Wars comics. Yep. They're like, hell yeah, man. Fucking cool.
We were supposed to go up to Michigan, but didn't get to go.
Yeah, we got free tickets for Michigan and for one of their big shows up there, but it was literally on a Wednesday. And I was like, I can't fucking go.
It was right before Thanksgiving. It was
it was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Yeah, I couldn't because I was working. I was still working at that point.
I was going up there, but I wasn't there for that night.
Yeah, because I stayed home and you went up and visited your family up there while I was down here with the kids. We had to work. Yeah. That was when I still had a regular job. Had to deal with regular people. I have to deal with regular people. You got to deal with regular people.
No, I got to deal with people. Going, what do you think about DeWine getting the COVID? What do you think about the test coming back negative after it was positive?
I try not to talk politics at the shop.
And then having to explain how testing works. Oh, I love that's the perks of working in healthcare right there.
I get people who tried talking politics at the shop, and I'm like, I don't talk politics here.
No, it took me literally 10 minutes to deter the conversation from politics because I can't be mean. I have to hold my composure, and all I can do is say, I don't really think about politics right now.
I'm too busy working to talk politics.
I try to deter the conversation into something else, and it doesn't always work. And sometimes, especially very conservative people, as soon as you shut the door, that's just like an invitation to assault you with their political views. And I'm like, I don't care. I really don't.
Is it opinions are a lot like penises? It's okay to be proud of yours as long as you don't go shoving it in other people's faces.
Pretty much.
But I don't know. I get on this whole thing because I want to bring this up because me and you have been going to concerts since we were relatively young. We're getting old now, I've been going to conventions since I was relatively young.
Oh, the ripe old 40s.
Yeah. I mean,
We're only middle-aged. Come on.
I know, but well, it's like people look at me now and I'm like, I've been in the comic book business that I'm in currently. I've been in the comic book store business. I started working at my first store at 15. Last year was 30 years in the business.
Which is completely ridiculous.
Just think, the boys, if one of the boys decide to take over the comic book shop when I'm retire or something happens, or I just, whatever, they're going to be in it even longer than I will be.
Well, yeah, because they were raised.
They were raised in it. They were like Bane is. You were. I was born into this. This is what I was made to be. Me and Brandon had his
making comic books and video games. They didn't have a chance with any of that because.
Hey, the kids like good music. They like good video games. They like good comic books. Hey, I think we did pretty good.
See, I didn't know that was like a geek thing either. I was a gamer. I wasn't a gamer girl.
I loved it when you freaked out when you finally realized people were like, you like looked at me one day and goes, what the fuck is a gamer girl? And I was like, it's a girl who thinks she's cool because she plays video games like the guys. And you're like, what? I've been doing this.
7-year-old me with my Atari, with my best bud, hanging out in his front room, playing the stupid freaking Centipede and Millipede and the paddle games and Pac-Man and
Well, I started telling this story earlier, but I gotta tell the whole story here. Ken was talking to me the other day at the shop, and we were talking about me and you meeting and whatnot like that. And I told him about the shop and stuff and how long me and you have been together. And I was like, and I was the guy who was into everything that would make sure you never got laid. In the early 80s and 90s, I was like, I watched horror movies. Sci-fi. I read constantly. I watched cartoons still. I read comic books. I played video games. I collected toys. I went to comic book conventions. I was big into heavy metal. And I was like, back when I was young, no girl wanted anything to do with any of those.
And then I came along.
Yeah, but then now you got the girls who look at that and go, oh, these guys have money. and I unfairly do that.
I'm standing there going, no, they don't.
No, they don't. Don't let them fool you.
No.
I do now, but fuck, I had to work my ass off to get where I'm at now. I buy what I want to buy. Literally, I just bought the little mini He-Man figures from Walmart. So now I have Eternia minis.
Just happened to meet the girl that didn't care about that stuff,
how many women would
worried
be
about it?
This is just it. How many women would be really cool with me coming home and going, "Oh yeah, I bought something. What'd you buy? Full Stormtrooper armor?" And you're like, "Cool." And you're like, then you had to help me put it on. And then you're like, "So we're not broke?" I'm like, "No. What? So I can buy a cricket? Go buy a fucking cricket. I don't care."
I just want to put sticky letters on cups.
I'm pissed. I bought my freaking Stormtrooper uniform. I was like, oh, right. I'm going to wear that to some conventions this year. And we're not going to have any conventions this year.
No. I could put sticky letters on it for you.
Yeah, don't put no sticky letters on my freaking Stormtrooper uniform.
I haven't gone completely crazy with the crafting machine yet.
I keep looking because
one of the girly things I like.
I think I'm going to buy a Power Ranger costume because I can get one for about $100.
Can I put sticky letters on that?
No, you can't put sticky letters on my Power Ranger. And the worst part about it is I'm not even a big Power Ranger. I just like what they... I don't really... I watch the Japanese Power Rangers, Sentai Rangers, and I like those. American Power Rangers, I'm indifferent on, except for the new comic books, which I fucking love. Especially the new one. They have Kimberly, the Pink Ranger. She's the Ranger Slayer, and she's a badass that was killing Power Rangers. I'm like, in the world of the coinless, and I'm like, fucking awesome. It's like, who would ever guess Power Rangers would be a badass comic book? Oh, yeah. But it's funny because right now everything is being all up in the air. Everything I wanted to do this year, like I was like, I bought a Stormtrooper costume. I'm wearing a Stormtrooper costume, go to some conventions. I was going to talk to another group about going in and going to hospitals and seeing little kids because I was going to get me a Power Ranger costume. I thought that'd be cool. You know, I was going to be able to hang out and try to do something cool for the kids. I was going to be able to, you know, wear it in my store or hang out, you know, at the, when I do my convention. I was going to be able to bring Stormtrooper, you know, all this cool stuff. And nope. Not this year, you're not going to have fun. Cause,
Corona messed it up.
No, there's talk already. I've been talking to some people in there. It looks like there's going to be some small shows. Like, there's a... I don't know how some of these are going on. There's one coming up, a G.I. Joe convention in Atlanta, and I'm like, they're going to fuck with Atlanta. And there's small shows, and Jesse was telling me, he goes, yeah, they had one, and they were, like, letting 50 people in the room at one time.
People are just going to have to wait until there's, like... Well, either A, until after the election's done so that the election hoax can be over with, or B, until we get a vaccine.
Well, this is...
I mean...
Well, people... I posted today, it looks like Cinemark is going to open back up.
That's fantastic.
But it's not going to be new movies. It's going to be like what they're doing at the drive-ins.
Yeah.
They're going to have the $5 ones.
They're going to have to for a while. They're going to have to, like, do something, or
and I think the only one
they're never going to open.
I think the only one that's going to open locally is the Green.
Wow.
So that's, what, 30, 40 minutes away from here?
We'll still go.
Yeah, I don't know. Depends on what it is. I still... I think I might go Sunday night and go see Empire and Spaceballs. Because I haven't seen Empire in the theater since 97 when they did the re-release. And that's my favorite Star Wars movie, is Empire. Because it's the downer ending. It's awesome. And just Empire's my favorite Star Wars movie, so... That and Spaceballs too. Fuck it, Spaceballs is awesome.
That's a fun movie.
That's like Mark goes, well, I'm not a fan of Mel Brooks. I'm like, how are we still fucking friends? You know, like Mel Brooks.
How is anybody not a fan of Mel Brooks? That's weird.
Mark's not a comedy guy.
Yeah.
And I got to give him shit about that. But
I can see that. I know a lot of people that aren't into comedy.
Oh yeah. My genres are sci-fi, horror, fantasy, comedy, and pretty much that's it. Oh, and occasionally war movies and car movies. I love my car movies.
Yeah.
Fuck. I've been jotting down notes for a movie I want to write, and I want to do the old school revenge movie with a car, like The Wraith and Killdozer and Rolling Thunder, where the guy gets wronged. So he builds a awesome car, or like the Wraith, he's a ghost thing that comes back, and then... But no, I was like, yeah, I think that's what I want to do. I got to get my other movie. That's what sucks. That's another thing that sucks about the Rona. I was supposed to shoot my first movie this year, and the Rona fucked it up.
It's messed up.
I don't want to shoot them. And, you know, other people are shooting movies, but I'm like I posted the other day, and I was talking to... Ryan and Stacy, I told him, I was like, yeah, you go, I was supposed to shoot my movie this year. And I was like, if I'm going to fuck up a movie, it's not going to be because of Rona. It's going to be because I'm an inept writer-director. I was like, if it's going to be a fucked up movie, it's going to be fucked up because I fucked it up and not because of a pandemic. Mm-hmm. And everybody loves my idea so far, and they're digging it. And part of me wants to film introduce the characters, where I can get one, maybe two people at a time, film a little vignette or little mini-sodes or whatever you want to call them, and post those. And then eventually introduce everybody into the larger movie. And then when I release the DVD or Blu-ray, then I could put all that as special features.
That'd be a good idea.
So, what sucks is that since Tristan moved away, I can't kill Tristan on screen. I was going to have Mick stomp his head.
That's terrible.
I know. But Mick liked it, and Tristan was all down for it.
Yeah.
But no, Tristan had to move because he
had to move away. So now Vince can't walk around the house talking about how things smell like Tristan.
Yep. No, he still says stuff smells like Tristan. Because, you never get the Tristan smell completely out of anything. So, I have 3 Star Wars helmets that say that you can never get the smell completely out.
Poor Tristan.
No, I did get the smell out of most of them, but I had to use like bleach cleaner and spray inside the helmets and let it just soak. I give Tristan shit, but I still give Tristan shit. He's out in like fucking Kansas or some shit right now, and I still give him shit.
Yeah, you got to.
Yep. Because he's getting all these people like, oh, we love you, Tristan. And me and Brent are like, fuck you, Tristan.
And then he got me yelling at you for it.
Then you're like, you shouldn't say that. That's too mean. I'm like, you should see what I say to his face. Because Tristan knows we're just bullshitting because he gives it right back. But people don't get it when they're on the internet.
That's what I try to explain to you.
See, that's why they need a special font for sarcasm on the internet.
You're supposed to do the /sarcasm.
/sarcasm.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but it is what it is. Oh shit! It is 12:30. But no, I just want to give you. I'm gonna try to bring Tina in from time to time and do little kicking and screaming, and 2 White Claws later, because she's basic.
Hey, you leave my basic White Claws alone.
Which are ruby grapefruit White Claw.
Yeah.
God, I don't know how you drink
I'm
that
allowed
shit.
to be basic every now and then, okay?
I don't know how you drink that shit. But then again, everybody used to make fun of me. Like, I don't know how the fuck you drink straight vodka out of the refrigerator. Because it's delicious. Fucking give me a bottle of frickin' Absolute Citron.
Gross. Says the person who loves tequila, but...
The worst part about it is I haven't drank in so long now that the smell of alcohol about make me fucking throw up.
Yeah, I can't drink like it. That's why I'm drinking White Claws. Come on.
Well, what's funny is I ran into somebody I haven't seen since back in the 90s when I was drinking a lot. And they're like, oh, man, what you doing? I was like, I don't know, I don't drink nothing. Like, what? And I was like, shit, I don't drink. I work out every day, except I work out 6 days a week. I'm all healthy, kind of. I even watch what I eat most of the time. And they're like, the fuck happened to you?
That was not me.
No,
okay?
no, that was all me. When the day, well, drinking was something I just needed to stop doing, but working out was something that Vince made me have to start doing. When I couldn't keep up with him when he was little, and that little turd would take off running, and I couldn't catch up, and I was like, oh, fuck this. And like I said, I love the day when I finally got healthy enough and I took off after him and he's running and he thinks he's going to be way ahead of me. He turns around laughing and I'm right behind him and I snag him up by his shirt. And he's like, oh no. That and I don't know. I got where I want to just be healthy finally. Fuck it. I was in my 40s and decided that's what I needed to be healthy. Now I'm probably in the best shape I've been in a long time.
Probably.
Yep. Hey, I keep it up when we have abs. I gotta change my fucking diet bad drastically. Not do it like hardly any carbs. Mm-hmm. That's what kills me. Mm-hmm. Fuck. I love me some potatoes. Mm-hmm. I love me some donuts and pizza.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to cut mine out, so.
Cut back. We'll figure out a way to do this. I'm gonna have to start because I thought if I started using tortillas instead of buns.
Yeah, they still have carbs.
It's still got a lot of carbs. It's got more sugars in it then too, but maybe every once in a while I'll have a burger.
They do have low carb options.
I usually just eat a burger with no bun occasionally.
Mm-hmm. Your problem is you don't like vegetables.
Ah, fuck vegetables. I like 3, 4. Corn, potatoes, green beans, and tomatoes.
Which aren't technically vegetables.
Which none of those are technically vegetables. I told Mark the same thing because Mark can eat salad. Mark, surprisingly enough, can eat salad because the man doesn't eat anything green, but he can eat salad. I'm like,
This is weird to me.
I know. Me and him talked, and I was like, I can't eat salad and I can't eat raw vegetables because I think every time I eat them, they taste dirty.
You're just weird.
No, I don't know why. You give me a fucking piece of celery or a raw carrot, and it doesn't matter if you clean that damn thing, slice it all up, give me the center, I'll eat it. It tastes dirty. Always has. Ever since I was a kid.
It's just because you were never pushed to eat vegetables as a kid.
That, and I can't eat onions because if I eat an onion, I bite into it, I'll throw up. Nope.
You got all the stuff that you eat that you don't know you're eating, so...
Well, that's mixed into fucking sauces and shit. I can't eat, like, raw onion. Raw onion, if I bite into a raw onion, it's coming right back up. Or no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Well, I don't drink... I drink water. I drink tea. Occasionally, I drink a smoothie. Like, the other day, a while back during when quarantine was really bad... Shit, I was drinking a lot of fucking smoothies, and I was drinking way too many of them. Now, you told me, like, oh, you can get it without sugar, and I'm like, well, fucking don't put sugar in there. They taste better. I think that was the best tasting one I'd had.
I get mine with,
You said Splenda. But, I don't know. I like fruit smoothies. I like fruit juice, but then fruit juice is fucking horrible for you, too. It's all sugar. But I drink tea... No calories. I drink my probiotic orange juice in the morning, which is low calorie. And I drink water. And everything I drink is either no calorie or low calorie. Because I don't. But then you look at this, and it's got 100 calories in White Claw. It's diet. Fucking diet White Claw.
That's okay. You leave my White Claw alone.
I gotta give you shit. But we're going to wrap up this...
I don't want to hear it. All that Zima you drank back in the day, I don't even want to hear it.
Hey. Don't talk shit about Zima. Zima was great because what you do is anything that calls for 7-Up in a drink, you poured Zima in instead. So instead of a 7 and 7, you had a 7 and Zima. Or instead of, I know it says Curacao, but it's not. That's Caraca. Blue Caraca. Curacao. So
ask the tipsy bartender.
No, I learned that from fucking Bar Rescue. But we would take the Zima and we'd pour that in there instead of 7-Up. And yeah. That's like, well, then you had the Zima of the early 2000s, which was fucking Smirnoff Ice and all those damn drinks, which I drank the shit out of because they tasted good. And then I was like, I gotta stop drinking this nasty shit.
And then you make fun of me for the White Claw, so I don't even want to hear it.
Nope. No, I stopped because I was like, oh man.
Alright.
But we're gonna wrap it up, but we're gonna bring you back here and there. We'll talk about what it's like being married to a huge fucking nerd.
Until I do my own podcast.
Tina's gonna do her own podcast. It's gonna be what it's like being married to a huge fucking nerd. The documentary, and they're like, "Can you believe I put up with this shit right here? Look at this. Look at this one."
Much. That's gonna be the video one.
He's got the whole household like this. No,
I have a shelf. You have a room.
You get the rest of the house. I just put my shit in one room. Excuse me. Goddamn.
Wow.
Yeah. But, you know what?
Although I really gotta dust all my things.
Yep.
All my pops.
Yeah, your little pop things.
Yeah, but my pops are cool.
Well, it's because you have, like, a shit ton of poison ivy. That's, like, your big thing is poison ivy. Poison ivy, fallout, and your labyrinth stuff. What else we got up there?
And then my rock stars.
Yeah.
I got the Ramones up there. I got Hendrix up there. Who else I got up there? Oh, I got Bob Ross somewhere.
Yeah, Bob Ross
is
right there.
He's still in the box.
Yep. You got Sabrina. You got several Batgirls. couple Wonder Womans.
Yeah.
My whole thing is that I own 6 pops.
Elvira.
Yeah, but that's not pop. That's a rock candy.
Oh, yeah. And then my Groot. I got a Groot at work, too. Everybody loves my Groot on my desk.
Oh, the one that Vince got a hold of
Yeah.
that I put the neck back in?
Yeah.
Oh, there's one right there. Oh, no, you got your little... You got the little Groot.
Yeah, I have 3 of them all together.
Yeah. Then you got your little rockets.
Yeah.
Me, I only have 6 pops. I have Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes. No, shit. I got 7.
Oh, and I have my Adiposian.
Yeah. I got Godzilla, glow-in-the-dark
'Cause it's
Godzilla.
cute.
Swamp Thing, Flocked Swamp Thing, glow-in-the-dark Swamp Thing. And Lemmy from Motorhead.
Yeah.
Because, it's Lemmy from Motorhead.
I have my Jareth.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite ones. And Ludo. And then my Fallout stuff.
Yep.
I have
Death.
several Fallout ones. Yeah.
Yeah, you got your little things that you like. Me, I just got shit tons of action.
Like, people ask me if I collect comic books, and I'm like, well, my husband collects comic books for me. You go, oh, you'll like this one, and it's in a box somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I'm slowly putting all your books where they belong in one box. Because they've been mixed up into mine, and I'm like, as I'm going through, I'm like, oh, nope, there's yours, there's yours, there's yours, there's mine, that's yours, that's mine.
Like my Wizard of Oz stuff and my Labyrinth stuff and the stuff that I get into.
Yep. And then
my
me.
Poison Ivy stuff, because she's my favorite.
Then there's me. I just collect way too many fucking comics.
A little bit.
Yep. Well, it's like somebody pointed out one day, I was like, this is my this week's poll, and I have like 25 books. And they're like, I don't get 25 books a month. And I'm like, I get like 150 books a month. Because I read a lot. But then I read them all.
Mm-hmm.
There's other people who just buy them to collect them. I buy them and read them. So, I don't know. But like I said, we're gonna do more with you and do sporadic one-off shows with just me and you. And hopefully tomorrow I I might do the show with Mark and Boone, depending on what they feel like doing. So I'm going to say good night.
Good night.
And this is Paul.
And this is Tina.
And adios.